out in that ninth, of course, and then Feliciano came in and he loaded the bases, and then Sean Green came in the game, and the first batter he faced, first pitch he threw, a hit batter, and the tying run for the Cardinals. That's the 7th hit batter for Sean Green so far this year. That leads the team. And then after that, in the 10th inning, after the Cardinals had pushed a run across, Albert Pujols with this long grand slam home run to left center field. Dejection from Sean Green and the Mets. That was his 5th grand slam this year. That ties the National League record. That's his 3rd against the Mets. Ties him with guys like no names, like Willie McCovey and Mike Schmidt. So Pujols has gotten hot in one game.
And Pujols had been in a slump. He was 0 for 13 before his first hit of the day. He wound up going 4 for 5. 2 homers, including a grand slam. Only the 3rd player in history to have that kind of day against the Mets. Who gets a chance to cool off the Cardinals and Pujols today? Well, that's young Jonathan Niese, who makes his 3rd start since coming back from the minor leagues.
Yeah, it's going to be his 8th start total for the Mets in the last 2 seasons. I think that this time coming up, he showed a lot more poise, he showed a lot more confidence and aggressiveness going after the hitters. He's going to have to do this against the Cardinals today, going up against Kyle Loesch, who hurt his forearm this season, has been out a little bit, but has pitched better as he's come back. 15-8 last season.
Had a big breakthrough season last year, a troubling season this year, in part because of injury for Loesch. So it's Niese for the Mets, Loesch for the Cardinals, as the Mets try and investigate their way to a victory. That's a great look. Back in a moment. With IOTV. By America's Trotting Classic, the $1.5 billion Hambletonian at the Meadowlands Racetrack this Saturday. Post time, 12:30 p.m. By Bigelow Tea, the green tea of choice for New York sports legend Joe Torre. By New York Community Bank. And by Fox Business Network. Opportunity, pure and simple. If you're traveling and you can't watch your Mets on SNY, you can always catch the game on your computer with MLB.tv. The ultimate baseball experience featuring 100 out-of-market games per week live on your computer, and catch those you missed on demand. For more details, visit Mets.com, where baseball is always on. Here's your Mets' upcoming schedule. Remember, all games on SNY are available in HD with IOTV. And remember to tune in if you're in the car to Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Road trip begins tomorrow night in San Diego for the Mets. 4 with the Padres, 3 with the Diamondbacks before the Mets get home a week from Friday night to take on the Giants in the start of an 11-game homestand that will feature San Francisco Atlanta, and Philadelphia. All the kids are out today, trying their best to pitch in for the cause. Mets could use every hit. First pitch coming up. Julio Lugo elevated to the leadoff spot for the second game of this series. Albert Pujols broke out in big fashion last night with 2 home runs, including a grand slam. The Cardinals, a revamped and much improved offensive team with their deadline acquisitions.
That's not bad. Nice motion. Jonathan Niese, 1-1 so far in the season. He pitched well through 5. His last start gave up a couple runs in the 6th and then a 2-run home run in the 7th. Let that ball game get away from him. 7 games started in his career, 2-2 for the Mets as he tries to slow down this very vaunted St. Louis lineup. Well, defensively for the Mets, Pagan is flanked by Sheffield in left and Frank Kerr in right field. Alex Cora making his 11th start at second base, the 5th start for Mr. Angel Barroa at shortstop. And Brian Schneider this year has thrown out 32% of the runners trying to steal. But just looking, it only seems like yesterday when Murphy was an outfielder. This is his 51st game at first base.
Took over there on May the 20th and has been a revelation defensively at that position. Meanwhile, the guy who usually flanks him to his right, Luis Castillo, they are calling a mild sprain of the left ankle after Luis fell down the dugout steps yesterday, and hopefully it is only mild, and hopefully he does miss just a couple of days. But the way things have gone for the Mets on the injury front this year, you just never know.
Well, this was last night's ball game. After making it out 4-3, came down the steps and tweaked that ankle, and he went down and was on the bench for a long time and had to be helped That's why the mild seems very strange word to use, but had to be helped to the locker room, down the steps and up the steps.
And Ronnie, the story didn't come from Castillo, but the story that was being disseminated last night is that he tried to avoid a glove sitting on the top step. You look at that video, and that does not appear to be the case at all. He just slipped.
That happens all the time. The guys slip coming into the dugout, just usually don't miss a game because of that.
Julio Lugo leads things off. First pitch by John Niese is in for a call strike. Lugo's been doing a great hitting job since coming over from the Red Sox. 3 for 5 last night. Now hitting .372 in 10 games for the Cardinals. Lugo, who had been designated for assignment by the Red Sox, they were anxious to get him out of there. And the Cardinals, who have struggled at the shortstop position this year, Khalil Green has been available and unavailable. Brendan Wright took over for a while, but he's sidelined right now with a bruised ankle, and Lugo has stepped into that breach and so far done a terrific job for St. Louis.
Well, Lugo, 16 hits for the Cardinals since coming over here, 8 of them for extra bases, so he has showed a lot of pop.
Niese's curveball strikes him out. But Jonathan Niese off to a good start. Van's the first man to face him.
Well, this is the pitch that really is raved about in the minor leagues when he pitches. Is this big overhand curveball, 12-6, underneath the bat of Lugo. And that's the key for Niese, is that if you can get ahead of the hitters, he does have the secondary pitches to put hitters away.
So 1 out and nobody on. Here's Mark DeRosa. 0 for 5 in the game last night, but drove in the go-ahead run in the 10th inning. Painful though it might have been. Got hit on the elbow by a Sean Green pitch, and that gave the Cardinals the 8-7 lead. DeRosa is the only Cardinal hitter who has faced Niese in a regular season game before, and he's 2 for 2 against Niese.
Niese had another day game start midweek against the Atlanta Braves earlier this season. Was hit pretty hard, giving up 5 runs and 4 2/3 innings pitched.
Routes DeRosa, and he fouls it off. 1-2.
I used to love pitching these midweek day games, because sometimes you can jump on an opponent early. Not only your team, but as a pitcher, sometimes it takes these guys a while to get going. Although Pujols might still be hot from last night.
Got him with a fastball, and Niese at 93 miles an hour against DeRosa. Back-to-back strikeouts to start the day.
Again ahead in the count. The fastball upstairs. Ties up Mark DeRosa.
So 2 out and nobody on, and now Jonathan Niese has the task of getting through Albert Pujols. 2 home runs last night, giving him a major league leading 36 for the year. Fastball off the plate for ball 1.
I like that first pitch, though, trying to go right after him. He was not tentative throwing that first pitch fastball.
And cutter on the outside corner, 1-1.
Good call there, Gary. That nice little cutter is a new pitch that he has added in the minor leagues, and it's going to serve him well here.
And the curveball in for a strike, so he's showing off all his weapons against Pujols.
Good curveball here for a strike to get ahead. He's going to throw it again, though. Bounce it.
Fastball drilled deep left field. Back goes Sheffield, looking up, and it's off the wall. Pujols heads for second. Sheffield with the throw, and Pujols is just barely safe. Cora with the diving tag attempt, but Pujols is in with his 26th double of the year.
Well, he got him with the curveball, tried to throw another cutter up and in, and Albert would have none of that. Nice short stroke, but Albert got caught gallivanting down that first base line and almost cost him with this throw from Sheffield. Nice hustle here by Cora with the tag. Pujols just beating the throw.
Sheffield really playing that ball nicely off the wall. As you look at the IOTV pitch differential, not where he wanted it. Matt Holliday takes off the plate for ball 1. Holliday 1 for 6 last night. Those are his combined numbers, hitting at .308 for the year, .488 as a Cardinal. Little flare over the mound, and Niese making like Santana, going away to grab it. Oh, those lefties, they can get back into no man's land, can't they? Niese works around the double by Pujols. Look at that extension. Mets come up with no score. Brought to you by Geico. Alex Cora moves into the 2-hole with Castillo unavailable with the sprained ankle. Angel Figueroa getting the start at shortstop. David Wright, last 14 games, he's hit in 13 of them, so David is in a good groove after a couple of hits last night. And Kyle Loesch, who's had an injury-plagued year, will take them out for the Cardinals.
Well, started out as a Minnesota Twin, then Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and last year with St. Louis. Breakout season, won 15 games, and if you remember back in the winter before last season, he could not get a job. Finally signed with St. Louis, won 15 games. They signed him to a multi-year contract the day after the season ended.
4 years, $41 million for Kyle Loesch. And he got off to a great start this year in April, 3-0, 1.97, but since then 1-6, 5.63. 2-0 to Angel Pagan, and he takes a strike, 2-1. Angel 1 for 4 last night, drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. Alex Cora on deck, and then David Wright. And he drives one into center field, and Pagan is aboard. Third straight game that Pagan has led off the first inning with a base hit. He's made a habit of this.
Well, 2-1, down and in, and nice swing from Angel.
His offense has been terrific. His defense has been very good. The only problem for Angel has been his base running of late. And now he's aboard for Alex Cora. Cora riding a 7-game hitting streak right now, swinging the bat as well as he has all year. 2 for 5 in the game last night. That's looking to get off to a fast start in this early game. And Cora's showing bunt. Takes high for ball 1. And Loesch a little off with his command early in the game.
Alex Cora was here, first guy on the field, just looking for someone to play catch with or do something. Only met on the field for about an hour. He is always the first guy to show up, last one to leave.
And after showing bunt to the first pitch, no bunt there, and it's 1-1.
You know, lost in that game last night. I know that Alex knows that play from that Ankiel got a infield hit on. That's a play he's got to make, but that's one of the things from moving from shortstop all the time to second base is that throw is a throw you don't practice a lot, and it's a little awkward, but still a play that he should make.
Hit hard right at the second baseman. Thurston rolls it over to Lugo, who gets the tag down on Pagan. Should have been a double play, but Thurston unable to handle it cleanly, and so the Cardinals settle for one.
Very interesting. Just hit him the right way that it allowed Lugo to make the tag on Pagan.
Thurston has played a lot for the Cardinals this year, but every time we've seen him, he has just made bad play after bad play.
Bad decisions. I'll remember this in the offseason. The one play that he did make that hurt the Mets, I'll never forget. He's playing third base on the Beltran play when he went home, and he had to chase the ball down and threw home and got Beltran.
Here's David Wright with 1 out and 1 on. David 2 for 3 last night. Now hitting a .324, third in the National League. And he's had good numbers against Kyle Loesch, 7 for 17, including a home run. When you talk about the Cora play last night, it's amazing the impact that Luis Castillo falling down the dugout steps had on the Mets, because you had Cora move over to second base, didn't make that play, and then you had Figueroa not make a play on a ball hit right at him. He had to take over when Castillo left, 2-1. And then you get the residual result of Castillo not playing today, and who knows for how many did.
And both, fair to say, difficult plays, but the way the Mets are going and where they're at with their ball club, plays that they simply have to make. That's the gist of it right now.
2-1 to Wright. And a breaking ball high, 3-1. There were so many things about last night's game that were so exasperating for the Mets, because here they had 7 runs and 15 hits against a guy that they never hit in Pinheiro. They had their ace on the mound who gives you 8 innings. They had their all-star closer in there to finish it up. He couldn't get it done, and they wind up losing the game.
If you had a pot and you were stirring up the recipes, that's supposed to have a beautiful souffle, but it went flat last night.
Now the Mets trying to take advantage of Loesch in the first inning. He's behind on Wright, 3-1. Loesch generally does not walk many. And David hits one well to right center field. Back goes Ludwig onto the track at the wall. It's out of here! David Wright with an opposite field 2-run homer. His 8th home run of the year, and he gives the Mets a 2-0 lead.
Nice hitting by David Wright, and interesting enough, Gary, almost a home run he had a patent on at Shea Stadium. Now finally his first one here at Citi Field to right center.
David now with 8 home runs, 54 runs batted in, and the Mets off to a fast start as Sheffield steps in, and Gary takes a strike.
Boy, look at that little toe tap, and then the strength and legs behind that ball as he drives that ball to right field. That high follow through that lifts that ball in the air.
But it's a great point about David going to right center field, because that was his zone. And the way this ballpark is configured, it's not as easy a shot as it was at Shea. Sheffield taps one out to short where Lugo handles it. 2 out.
Well, the forward Cardinals defense, 121 assists, the most among Major League first basemen is Pujols, who has played in 106 games of the 109 so far for the Cardinals. Ludwig, of course, was the July Player of the Month out in right field. And Molina threw out 2 would-be base stealers in yesterday's ball game. He's close to 60% effectiveness.
Danny Murphy takes ball 1. You mentioned Pujols with 121 assists. Not only does that lead all Major League first basemen, it's 39 more than anybody else. Adrian Gonzalez is second with 82.
That's Well, that's part and parcel because he's such an outstanding fielder, but also you have guys like Pinheiro and Woes, guys that throw a lot of ground ball.
2-0 to Murphy with 2 out. And Daniel takes a strike. The last 6 years, Pujols has had 701 assists, which is the most in the majors over that span. The most assists anybody's ever had in a 6-year span. Guess who?
Old number 17.
He had 861 in a 6-year span.
Kind of a hog over there at first base when he played.
No assist there. Pujols takes it himself, and that'll do it for the inning. David Wright with an opposite field 2-run homer. David clouding his 8th home run of the year in old-fashioned style, going the other way. And the Mets give John Niese a 2-0 lead going to the second. Ryan Ludwig leads off the second inning for St. Louis and takes outside from John Niese. Ludwig, a double and a home run last night, drove in a couple of runs. Now 18 home runs on the year, 68 runs batted in after a very slow start. For most of the season, the Cardinal offense basically consisted of Albert Pujols, teams pitching around Albert Pujols, and guys hitting behind Albert Pujols trying to figure out how to protect him. You had Ankiel, you had Ludwig, you had a bunch of guys who just did not perform behind Pujols. Well, now they've got DeRosa hitting in front of him, who has 20 home runs. They've got Holiday hitting behind him, one of the better hitters in the game, and they have Ludwig, who has been resurgent over the last 5 weeks, hitting number 5.
I can honestly see how that would happen, though, Gary, is that there's added pressure game after game when Pujols has walked in front of you, and now you have to be the man, and sometimes you try to dig too deep and you don't have enough in the tank.
Ball 4, and so Niese, after being handed the lead, walks the leadoff hitter. Boy, you gotta hate to do that as a pitcher.
420 walks now for Mets pitching this year.
That is the most in the majors, which is stunning. I mean, we've talked about it a few times over the last few weeks since the Mets took over that lead. In this ballpark, with this staff, to be leading the league in walks allowed it's inexcusable.
Well, absolutely. I think that Ankiel squares the bunt. Boy, that's the longest foul bunt you'll ever see. Gary, you can almost see it if you have a staff that strikes out 1,000 at this point. Then you can say, you know what, they'll put people on, but they can punch you out. That's not the kind of staff you have.
The Mets are 3rd from the bottom in the National League in strikeouts. And, you know, clearly Oliver Perez is that kind of pitcher. He's going to be a high walk guy. He has been his entire career. But you look around the rest of the staff, and that's not the track record.
Yeah.
Grounded weakly, Murphy makes the turn, fires to second, gets the force play. Murphy's so aggressive going to second base and getting the lead runner.
He has become so adept at this play, and it doesn't come out of thin air. This young man is out here every day working on this play over and over and over again. And he has started not only to perfect it, but he has become so aggressive. He talked about infield assists by Albert Pujols. So this young man, Murphy, has shown a daring play at the first base bag.
Well, he's already started 10 double plays, more than any other first baseman in the majors since he took over the position. Here's Yadier Molina with 1 out and 1 on, and takes at the knees for a strike. Molina 1 for 5 last night, hitting a .282 for the year and playing an early day game after a night game. We were talking last night about Molina and the fact that he has not always run hard on ground balls this year. We saw it a couple of times last night. Grounded toward third, right on the backhand, can't make the clean play and has no play. Thought he might try for first base with Molina running slowly, but turned down that opportunity.
Well, this is a play where sometimes you get ahead of yourself. Okay, you're thinking to yourself, if you're David, I'm going to catch it and throw it to second base quickly. But see, he catches it on the heel of the glove. He can't make the play at either base. That ball came up a little bit. It's just one of those plays that you start to think ahead of yourself. As soon as I catch this, I'm going to throw it to second, and he wasn't able to make the play.
It's an error on right, his 13th of the year, and so the Cardinals have 2 men on. The number 8 hitter, Joe Thurston, up. Thurston hitting at .227 and getting a start today. Left-hander against left-hander. He's hit just .206 against lefties, and he takes ball 1. Thurston playing second base today. He came up as a second baseman in the Dodgers system, and in fact was a very highly touted player coming out of the minors. Never quite worked out for him.
Pretty straight up with that defense. Of course, double play depth up the middle.
Thurston, as it's turned out, has played mostly third base this year, as the Cardinals have, up until the acquisition of DeRosa, mixed and matched there. Accounting for the loss of Troy Glaus, who now looks like he might miss the whole year. Jammed him and he fouls it off.
Well, Niese is doing something that we don't see many left-handers do for the Mets. Other than Santana, he was pitching a lot of fastballs into these left-handed hitters. Got Ankiel, of course, on that ground out to Murphy. And here Thornton with the foul ball.
The 1-2 to Thurston, ground to the right side. Murphy will go to second, get the force there. Burrows relay, not in time. Nice cover by Niese, but the first base umpire Darryl Cousins said he was off the bag. So the second assist of the inning for Murphy, but they can't quite turn 2.
Well, it was well played all around. Burrow with the nice throw. Murphy, of course, got the ball to him. Molina with the hard slide into second. Good play. That's what you're supposed to do. And watch Niese makes like Willie Montanez with the stretch, but just can't keep that left foot on the bag. More difficult play for the left-hander because he's kind of got to square around and get that right foot, and it looks like he might have hurt his leg with that stretch.
Well, he had the heel on the bag, and then as he reached for the ball, the heel came up, and so I wonder whether it's something with that Achilles.
Yeah, good call, Gary, is that he's trying to reach back with that left foot and just strained. It looks like, see that, almost did the splits.
Turned the ankle, did the splits. Could be anything. Could be an ankle, a groin, and Michael Herbst, the assistant trainer, out there talking to Niese, and we'll see whether he'll throw in a warm-up now. Oh, that is not good. Not grabbing at the back of that right leg. Jerry Manuel's immediate reaction is to look out to his bullpen as Niese clearly in discomfort.
Well, I would say Mr. Figueroa better get up and be ready to go, and hopefully he didn't strain. Well, obviously.
Well, he might have had one injury and might have just hurt something else trying to throw in that warm-up pitch.
Watch him land, and that leg just gave away. hyperextended the knee at the same time. Jeez.
That's the leg, the landing leg, the right leg is the one that he was anchoring to the bag. No, it would have been the other leg.
No, it's the other leg.
Yeah, right.
That's the one he did like kind of the splits on all the way out there. And see,
yeah, he's stretching with that right leg.
See, then the ankle turns over outside. Oh, jeez. This is just...
Well, it's something else every day for this team. Yesterday it was Castillo falling down the dugout steps. Now Jonathan Niese.
Well, they're spending a lot of time on that knee, aren't they?
And clearly in extreme discomfort as he is helped to his feet. And this is just unbelievable. One after another, and unable to put any weight on that right leg. The two trainers, Ray Ramirez and Michael Herbst, helped John Niese off the field. A far too often repeated scene for the New York Mets in 2009. And now they have to negotiate those rather steep steps that go from the dugout down toward the clubhouse, and then there's another set of steps that goes up.
Well, there's a young man in his third time around, just seemed to be brimming with confidence in each start, and have it end this way. And Nelson Figueroa had a spot start 2 days ago.
The good news for Nelson is that he's getting another chance.
Yep.
The bad news for the Mets, of course, is that John Niese leaves with an injury that did not look good at all. Well, Figueroa threw 53 pitches in his start night before last against Arizona. It could not have gone worse, except that he was able to emerge healthy and now able to go back to the mound for another turn. As Dan Worthing gets the word from Mike Herbst, and from the reaction that Dan just gave, that can't be good.
That's got to be, you got to be kidding me. This is crazy. Nelson in that start, 3 runs in each of the first 2 innings, 5 hits in each of the first 2 innings. Has really had a rough go of it, but like you said here, a little reprieve for the governor as he has a chance to go out there and, with this 2-run lead, somehow get the Mets out of this inning. He can take now all the warm-ups he wants. Umpires will allow him to get completely loose. Shouldn't take Nelson too long. He's one of those guys that has that kind of arm that bounces back real quickly.
Well, Ronnie, through this season of 2009, with all the injuries that the Mets have suffered, going all the way back to the beginning of the year, you know, whether it's been Beltran or Reyes or Delgado or John Maine, J.J. Putz, the list has gone on and on. The year that people have invoked has been 1987.
Yeah.
And you were a part of that. And the Mets, coming off a World Series the year before, lost every starting pitcher at some point. Did that even compare with what has happened this year?
No, it doesn't compare with what happened that last year, because the Mets were still able. They had so many pitchers down in the minor leagues that they were able to bring up guys who really were able to perform at a pretty nice level all through the season. And it only hit one faction of the team, the pitching staff. This has been prevalent the entire team, whether it's the pitching staff, core players, fringe players, guys that come up with just no telling who's going to be going down, and in a variety of ways.
So Figueroa quickly ready to go and throws a breaking ball strike to Kyle Loesch. And Keela's on third. Thurston is at first with 2 out. Mets with a 2-0 lead in the second. For the second time in 3 nights, a Mets starter leaves after an inning and 2/3. And ironically enough, it's Figueroa who was that starter 2 nights ago, who this time comes on in relief of the injured John Niese.
And has a chance to do what Tim Redding did in the Figueroa game, come out, throw a few good quality innings, and a spot is open.
Reading went 3 1/3 scoreless in that game coming out of the pen. 0-2 to Loesch, and he lifts one to shallow right, which is where Figueroa is stationed, and that retires the side. A walk, an error, another injury, and 2 left. 2-0 Mets. Evan Longoria, 2 home runs, including the game winner in the bottom of the 13th as the Rays beat the Red Sox 4-2. Yusmeiro Petit, 7 no-hit innings for the former Met farmhand, allowed a single in the 8th inning to Ronnie Cedeno. 8 innings, 1 hit. Diamondbacks beat the Pirates 6-0. Yankees hit 3 home runs off Roy Halladay, and Andy Pettit one. So Petit and Pettit both worked winning in the same day.
Just pronounced the way it should. Damon and Teixeira back-to-back home runs in that game, and Halladay with a complete game effort.
Jeff Francoeur leads off in the home second against Kyle Loesch. The story from last night that received the most prominence in today's headlines, not listed in our Jeep Around the Majors. As Francoeur lines one into center field, and so Jeff, who had been hitless in his last 9 at-bats, starts the second inning with a base hit.
A little hanging slider here from Loesch on the outside part. Good swinging from Jeff, right back through the box. This swing is the swing that he would love to have on videotape and just repeat over and over. That is just quick, solid, quick to the ball.
Ryan Schneider will come to bat with the runner aboard. Last night in L.A., the Dodgers beat the Brewers 17-4, but that's not the big story. In the 7th inning of that game, Milwaukee reliever Chris Smith hit Manny Ramirez with a pitch. And in the 9th inning, Dodger reliever Guillermo Mota appeared to retaliate by hitting Prince Fielder with a pitch, and here were the Brewers down by 13 runs. As soon as the game was over, Fielder charged out of the Brewers clubhouse, down the hallway, and tried to get through the door of the Dodger clubhouse to get at Mota. Now, where have we heard this story before? But he was restrained by his teammates, and Fielder was just livid.
Well, there's a security man at the door, too. That's who stopped Fielder first. And then Bill Hall, I think, was it Brian Braun? I know it was Bill Hall, was one of the teammates of Prince Fielder that stopped him from going in the clubhouse, because that could have become a crazy situation. But it was interesting that they made a warning after Manny Ramirez was hit. And it's well documented that he's been hit in the hand. He's been hit many times this year. And Mota retaliated by hitting Fielder in the thigh and walked off the field because he knew the warning was if he hit anybody, he was out. So obviously he tried to hit Fielder, an ex-teammate from last season, and Fielder just didn't understand the retaliation. Wasn't going to have it.
Well, it's shades of Port St. Lucie, and I can't remember exactly what year it was when Moda hit Mike Piazza with a pitch, which led to a big conflagration. It was the second time, in fact, that Moda had hit Piazza in a spring training game in 2 seasons. First one had happened in Vero Beach the year before. And after that little Donnybrook, Piazza went looking for Moda in the Dodger clubhouse and fortunately never found him.
It's interesting because that's something that used to happen all the time. The guys would call each other out in the bowels of the stadium and say, listen, I want him to come out here. And occasionally the guys would, get into fisticuffs.
2-2 to Schneider, who's hitting at 206, and he lofts one to right center field. Long run back for Ludwig in the gap. He doesn't get there and it hops over the wall for a ground rule double. That might have cost the Mets a run because Frank Coeur was most of the way to third when that ball went over the wall.
Well, we've seen with Wright's home run, and here Schneider hitting off his front foot, really. The ball is just carrying. We've just seen as the weather gets humid or more humid, the ball will go. Look at that swing. Off his front foot, almost one-handed, and well placed in between the outfielders there for Bryant.
9th double of the year for Schneider. So the Mets in business, second and third, and nobody out. You ever witness one of those in the bowels of the stadium dust-ups?
Yes, I have. He's involved in it.
Really?
Yes. I'm not going to name the participants because it's not fair. I don't want the other person.
Down to third, and now Frank Coeur in a rundown. DeRosa running him toward home, and it's the pitcher Loesch. Did he get the tag on him? He did. And the runners advance to second and third. So a good job by Frank Coeur to stay in the rundown long enough for Schneider and Figueroa to advance.
Well, nice play here by DeRosa on the run with the accurate throw. Frank Coeur knows that he was going on contact, so he comes back and gets in the rundown, stays in it. Like you said, long enough to hear Loesch, who blocks the plate. You don't see many pitchers do that. And the good thing here, Schneider, of course, when he sees Frank Coeur go, boy, he's stuck in the middle, and then now proceeds to third base, which allows Figueroa to go to second. Same situation now with one out. Nice read by Angel Figueroa. Waved on by first base coach Luis Alicea.
Now you got the trainer out looking at Loesch after he took that slide from Frank Coeur. Mets have already lost their starting pitcher John Niese after a play at first base, but Loesch appears to be okay and gets the slap on the back from Barry Weinberg.
Probably got a little spike there, did Loesch. Not much of a collision here, but Frank Coeur, of course, with the slide. And watch the spikes come in. Yeah, that's not so bad. Well, it's not so bad because I'm sitting up here.
Not fond of the excuse me.
Yeah, well, that's.
I mean, was that really the way the game is played now?
What's Keith call it? He calls it country club baseball. I mean, these guys change teams so often that everyone knows each other.
Now Nelson Figueroa will get it, turn it back. Something that eluded him 2 nights ago. Infield in, second and third, and one out. And Figueroa pounds one foul at the plate.
See Loesch, usually you'll see the pitcher take the throw out in front and lay down a tag, but he blocked the plate there, and you see both of them helping each other not fall.
I have a question. I mean, are we just hopelessly old-fashioned that's somewhat offensive, that a guy is more concerned about the condition of the opponent than he is about sliding hard enough to knock the ball loose or be safe?
Yes.
Figueroa drives one to deep center field. That kills. Get back there, and he can't make the play. It's off his glove. 2 runs are going to score as the ball rolls loose on the warning track. Figueroa to third. He'll stop there with a triple. And Keel almost made a great play, but it came off his glove. And Figueroa with a 2-run triple to make it 4-0 New York.
Well, a great job by Nelson getting that fastball by Loesch, playing very shallow was Ankiel, but that long run in the dive did not come up with it. Hits off the heel of his glove. He had gone so far, just off the side of it. And of course, both runs will score. Schneider back just in case Ankiel makes the great play. He proceeds. Figueroa, of course, with the hesitated read. And Nelson was running hard from the box. He gets himself a triple. I thought at some point he might be sent in for an inside the Parker.
Infield in again now for Angel Pagan, who singled his first time up, and it's up and away for ball one.
Oh, good swing by Nelson. Coming out of the box. He can see that Ankiel might not make that play, doesn't? And digging around second to third. Very nice.
He's a ball player.
He is.
And he's 35 years old, let's remember. And Pagano drives one to center, and Keogh drops the ball. Figueroa in to score, and it's 5-0 New York. Well, after nearly making a brilliant play and having one break off his glove, now Ankiel drops the ball he absolutely should have caught.
Well, couldn't decide whether to have that glove top to bottom or bottom to top. He wants to turn that glove over a little bit and make an easier play. Also looked like that ball was a knuckleball going to center field, and he misplayed it.
It'll be scored a sacrifice fly for Pagan, so no turn it back. He gets an RBI, then an error on Ankiel, allowing Pagan to reach. Mets with 3 runs home in the inning. And Dave Duncan will visit the mound to talk to Loesch as the Mets now have opened up a 5-0 lead.
Well, Loesch is not getting ahead of hitters. Most of the pitches he's throwing are middle. Trying to throw harder to get himself through these innings instead of taking a little off. Has not established any of his breaking pitches. And happy days for Nelson.
Well, Nelson Figueroa had every reason to feel as bad as he could possibly feel 2 nights ago, but this game gives you ways of redeeming yourself, and Nelson has helped to do that here in this inning.
The giveth and the taketh away sometimes. No one knows that better than Rick Ankiel right now. The play in the outfield for the Cardinals has not been good in these first 2 games, despite them having the only victory.
By the way, the triple for Figueroa, not only the first of his career, but only the second extra base hit of his career. Now Cora with a runner at first and still only 1 out. Alex hit into a fielder's choice his first time up. First triple by a Mets pitcher this season. And Cora takes a curveball for a strike. Well, last night Santana with a 2-run double to get the Mets their first 2 runs. Today Figueroa coming out of the bullpen to replace the injured John Niese with a 2-run triple. Manuel said all along that for this team to win, the pitchers have to be front and center. I'm not sure if that's what he had in mind. Actually, I think he said the pitching. But you know what? When you're as shorthanded as the Mets are, any contribution is welcome from any source. 1-2 to Cora. Anyway, you were about to tell the story of your little dust up in the stadium corridor.
Well, 2 things. Once, yes, we're hopelessly old-fashioned, Gary, so we need to get over it. The game has changed and move on. Okay. Secondly, as far as in the bowels of the stadium, I hit a batter in Chicago on purpose because I can't be fined now.
I think the statute of limitations is run out. DeRosa catches that in foul ground for the second out.
And one of their meaner players called me out, and I stupidly went out and met him in the bowels of the stadium, and we almost came to blows. We didn't, and he screamed, I yelled, he yelled, I screamed. And luckily, not a punch was thrown, but it was as close gets.
Was it just the 2 of you?
Just the 2 of us.
There were no teammates?
Nobody there. There's one security guy who was scared out of his gourd.
I'll bet. I would have been too. David Wright hit a 2-run homer his first time up, and he takes a slider for ball 1.
And I'm not saying this like I'm a big tough guy, because I'm not. I am a lover, not a fighter. But things happen sometimes that you just have to go with the flow.
Heated.
That's right.
And Wright lines one into center field. That's a base hit in front of Ankiel. Heading first to third is Pagan. The throw by Ankiel, not in time. Pagan challenging Ankiel's arm, and you know the kind of arm he has. Back from his pitching days. It's a lot more accurate from the outfield than he was from the mound.
Well, he just has a great arm, but it takes a long time really to get rid of this throw. And Pagan, with that good speed, is able to just get there before the tag. You know what's interesting about DeRosa, he had such a nice feel for that. Knew he couldn't get Pagan, so he came up off the bag to make sure Wright didn't take second base.
That's fourth hit of the inning. 3 runs are home. And now Gary Sheffield, who bounced out to short his first time up. No action in the Cardinal bullpen. This is on Loesch to get out of this mess.
Well, he has had stops and starts this season, Loesch, with injuries. A right forearm strain that he got from getting hit, then hurt it fielding, and then hurt it by his pitching also. So they need him to get some innings in.
Ground ball toward the middle of the diamond. Lugo gets over with the backhand flip. And that'll do it for the Mets in the bottom of the second, but a productive inning for the Mets. And some of the production coming from a very unlikely source. Nelson Figueroa, just his second career extra base hit, just beyond the reach of Ankiel. A triple that drives home too and puts the Mets up 5-0. Who are on hand for this early day game today, and they have seen the Mets jump out to a 5-0 lead as they look for a split of this 2-game series with the Cardinals. That's a nice wave. Some of the camp kids on hand. Camp groups from all over the metropolitan area have made their way to Citi Field today.
Yellow seems to be a very popular color in those camps.
It's how do we quickly identify who's in our group.
So funny you say that.
The brighter color, the better. Julio Lugo leading off in the third. He pulls one just foul. I was a camp counselor once, and for 8 weeks, counting to 12 became my most important task, just to make sure nobody was lost.
I bet you were a taskmaster too.
I just wanted to make sure I didn't, misplace a kid. That was my biggest.
Well, my kids were small. We used to go to Disneyland in California. I used to always dress them in something very unusual so you could spot them to the crowd. Bright color.
Then the kids get to an age where they can dress unusually all by themselves.
You feel just like your dad or mom at some point saying, "Are you leaving the house with that outfit?"
Lugo hits one down the left field side and into the crowd. 8 Become a founding member of Club Mets, the ultimate Mets fan club today. Members receive a subscription to 2009 MLB.com game day audio, ticket opportunities, and much more. Sign up today at Mets.com. Nelson Figueroa working in relief of John Niese. We're waiting for a medical report on Niese. He left the game after covering a play at first base in the second inning. Tried to throw a warm-up pitch, crumbled to the ground. He appeared to be looking at his right knee, but he was helped off to the clubhouse. And there's a guy who knows all about knee problems, Levan Hernandez, who battled them for several years. It's like he's trading injury tales with Jerry Manuel.
I think he's trying to describe the injury to Jerry. Wow, I mean, to me, just reading that, he's saying that the kind of the hamstring, upper hamstring, has come apart. Wow.
We'll wait and hear what they have to say when they let us know. Lugo pops another one foul. Long turn it back for Lugo.
Exactly. Don't listen to what I'm saying. I'm just trying. I'm interested party. I'm just trying to be nosy and see what Levan is trying to say. So going down the line with all the players to describe the injury. This team's got to be feeling snake bit also.
Nelson Figueroa having to work hard on Lugo after his hard run from home to third. Figueroa's triple, by the way, first by a Met pitcher since 2006. The last Met pitcher with a triple.
2006. Ray Luke. No, he wasn't. He was 2005. Who?
El Duque.
Oh, that's right.
Popped up in foul ground. Might be playable for Murphy. And he gets there. One away. So Figueroa wins that battle. A 9-pitch affair with Lugo. One out in the third. In fact, Duque not only had a triple that season, I think he had 2 stolen bases. I think he had a stolen base in back-to-back starts. At age whatever he was.
They wouldn't hold him on. He would just take off. I mean, that year you had what? Julio Franco stealing bases, El Duque stealing bases.
Rosa takes a strike. A year in 2006 where in the regular season at least everything went right.
Yeah.
DeRosa struck out his first time up. Statistician Dave Freed informs me that you had 2 career triples.
Oh, did I? Had them both in the same season.
1988. Would you like to describe them?
One was in Wrigley. I know that. The only reason I remember it is because when I hit it, I ran to third base. Buddy Harrelson was there, and I just, ran there. It was a stand-up triple. I got there, and Buddy goes, "You're not breathing hard." I said, "What?" He goes, "You're not breathing hard. Everyone who hits a triple is always breathing hard." I said, "This is all I do for 4 days. I run. That's all I do. Occasionally they let me out of the mound. Other than that, I run."
Seems to me everything happens at Wrigley.
Yeah, that's right.
On the field and all. DeRosa down swinging for the second time. Niese got him in the first. Now Figueroa gets him in the third. 2 out.
Well, Nelson, interestingly enough, is showing a little more pop in this game than he did in his start 2 days ago. And the book on DeRosa so far with Niese and with Figueroa is up in the strike zone is his Achilles heel.
So 2 out and nobody on. And for the second straight time, that's faced Pujols with the bases empty. Pujols behind in the count, drilled a double off the left field fence in the first inning. And he takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, this is the 9th season for Pujols. He's got 355 home runs, 1,074 RBI. His career average is 333. 355 home runs, 548 Ks. Most of those Ks early in his career.
42 strikeouts this year. That puts him in the top 10 toughest to strike out in the league, which is very unusual for a home run leader. 2-1 to Pujols. Well, the Mets got him out his first time yesterday on a fly ball to center field. Since then, he's 5 for 5, 2 doubles, 2 homers, and a walk. Two.
It was interesting to listen to Skip Schumacher. Kevin did a nice job with him after the game last night, and he said, "Hey Skip, what do you think when Albert Pujols comes to the bases loaded?" He said he's going to hit a home run because he does all the time.
Well, he's done it 5 times this year to tie a National League record set by Ernie Banks 54 years ago, and he whips that one just foul off the top.
It's just he has a sereneness to his stance. He has a beautiful confidence in the way he stands at the box. And at some point, when he gets hot, which he did in yesterday's ballgame, there's not a pitch to get him out. He just covers everything from knee high to cardinal high, inside and out.
One more thing about Pujols as he stands there and looks out at you as a pitcher. That sneer. It's got to scare you.
Well,
he just looks so supremely confident, as though he knows he's going to get you. It's almost like, it looks like Snidely Whiplash. I mean, he's just got that look about him, like he's going to get you.
He's got the look that he knows he's going to hit a BB off you.
Chasing Frank Court back and right. It's over his head and off the wall. Another extra base hit for Pujols. 6 consecutive hits, 5 of them for extra bases.
A little Michael Jordan-ish. And his performance is Jordan-ish. Always comes up big, and now he's covering both sides of the plate and able to hit a ball off the right field wall as a right-handed hitter. Below that Modell sign is something that you do not see at this ballpark. He knows he's going to hit a bullet off you. The pitcher knows he's going to hit a bullet off him. And even more importantly, he knows that the pitcher knows that he's going to hit a bullet off him. That's the biggest problem for any pitcher against Pujols today.
Well, the Mets ran into Pujols at the wrong time, as it turned out. He had a hitless series against Houston, and that doesn't happen very often. A base hit his second time up last night, and the Mets have not gotten him out since.
You see him looking at right field like, boy, I hit that pretty good. That should be out.
It's out of every other ballpark in the majors at that point. Here's Holliday. Yeah, he fouls one at the plate. Holliday hit a little pop up behind the mound, and Jonathan Niese made a nice reaching catch for it in the first inning. And that's what Pujols has done against the Mets this year. 15 for 31. Last night, 4 hits, 2 home runs, including a grand slam. There are only 2 other players who have ever done that against the Mets. Hank Aaron did it in '66 at Shea Stadium, and Bob Bailey of the Expos did it in '73 at Jerry Park. 4 hits, 2 home runs, including a grand slam against the Mets. Holliday hits one to center, and Pagan is there. And that retires the side. So for the second straight time, Pujols gets a double, and the Cardinals can't bring him in. Middle of the third at Citi Field, the Mets with a 5-0 lead. Time to take a look at the view from the Pepsi porch with Kevin Burkhardt.
Well, guys, so far in this game for the Mets defensively, we've seen a couple nice turns at first base from Daniel Murphy. No double plays yet, but there is, I think, a reason partially for Murphy's success there, and that's because of the work that Sandy Alomar Sr. and Luis Alicea have been doing with the infielders. What they've done is change up the routine, and they can't do it on the road because they don't have access to the field that early. But on the homestand, the last couple of times, they go out early, way early before BP, usually before a lot of the guys are here. And they'll take what Alicea told me is game speed grounders. Instead of in batting practice taking grounders and, kind of lollygagging throws, he hits balls hard to the right, to the left, to every infielder, and they turn double plays like it's a game. He says it's really helped Murphy improve because there's no time to think, and he's shown that. And the other interesting note about it is I asked him, who else has really benefited. Of all people, he told me Luis Castillo. He said Castillo, he thinks, has really made leaps and bounds in progress in his turn of the double play. Guys?
All right, Kevin. And the Mets Pepsi Clutch Performer from the month of July, as voted on by you, the fans, was Jeff Francoeur. Daniel Murphy leading off the home third inning, and it's 2-0. Francoeur on deck, and then Brian Schneider in the home third. Kyle Loesch has been struggling from the get-go. Loesch has given up 5 runs and 6 hits over the first 2 innings. Hasn't walked anybody, but been behind in the count more often than he's accustomed to. While the Mets have issued more walks than any pitching staff in the majors, the Cardinals have issued the fewest walks of any staff in the National League, led by Joel Pinheiro, who has the best walk ratio in the league, 3-2 now to Murphy, but they have a staff of guys who throw strikes.
Throw strikes, throw ground balls. Loesch, of course, is trying to find his 2008 season. Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, eyeballing his performance, which has not been Loesch's best so far.
Murphy lifts one to shallow right center. And then Keel there to grab it, 1 away. Let's check out our Aflac trivia question for today. Which 2 players hold the National League single season record for most home runs by a rookie? Home runs by a National League rookie. 2 guys. There's Jeff Francoeur on a base hit. His first time up, and Loesch moves him back.
This is the same guy that helped him up, and he brushes him back. Turnabout is not always fair play.
No good deed goes unpunished. Francoeur says thank you very much into the left field corner. So Jeff is 2 for 2, his 15th double of the year. Brush me back.
Nice swing here. 2 good swings from Francoeur on that fastball on the inside part. Some nice swing right there. That stiff front leg and the extension through the baseball.
So Francoeur in second with 1 out. The Mets' 7th hit, and now Brian Schneider, who had a long double to right center and scored a run in the second. Loesch has faced 15 batters, thrown only 6 first pitch strikes. Very unusual for him. And there's another ball 1. Nice stop by Molina on a hop. Like a shortstop on the backhand.
The most athletic catcher in baseball is Yadier Molina.
Well, we saw his throwing last night. Threw 2 BBs to second base, 1 from his knees.
You're the backup catcher for St. Louis, and the coach that comes and says, hey, listen, we're going to go have some drills, throw to second base. Let Yadier do it. I'll do it a little later. I don't want to do it at the same time.
Yadier won his first Gold Glove last year, first of many, I'm certain. To the right side, and Thurston throws out Schneider 2 away. Francoeur moves over to third.
You saw that Gold Glove for St. Louis catchers. Those 2 catchers named with him, Mike Matheny and Tom Pagnazzi. Not household names maybe for Mets fans, but 2 outstanding catchers in their day.
Well, Matheny was just so fundamentally sound and would have had a much longer career if not for concussions that eventually ended his career. Here's Angel Figueroa into a fielder's choice his first time up, and then scored a run.
Mike Matheny was tough as nails. Now this might be horrible to say, but in one of the years Tony DeRusso invited me to come down and throw some BP for his Cardinals in spring training. Don't tell anybody out there.
My secret.
And I was throwing against Mike Matheny. One got away from me and drilled him, and he's a pretty big guy. And I was like, hey, sorry, Mike. He goes, you know what? We need to work on that too. No big deal. I was like, boy, this guy's quite a man.
Now, were you throwing coach batting practice or pitcher batting practice?
I was throwing hard. I mean, as hard as I could throw. Let's say I probably, 81, 82, something like that.
Figueroa walks on 4 pitches, and now the big bat of Figueroa will come up with 2 on. First walk given up by Loesch. Looked like he pitched around Figueroa to get to Figueroa. He'll hit a triple off the glove of a diving Rick Ankiel in center field his first time, and Ankiel's playing a little deeper this time. First triple by a Met pitcher in 3 seasons. And Nelson takes ball 1. Well, after Nelson's ill-fated effort on Sunday against Arizona, Monday against Arizona, there was every reason to believe that might be his last chance with the Mets. And yet here he is 2 days later, through circumstances, getting another opportunity to make a good impression and carve a spot for himself.
In a weird way, not going deep in that game kept him on the roster, because he didn't go deep enough to throw too many pitches, so he still was available to pitch out the bullpen the next day, and of course out here today. And now he's got a shot to, Jonathan Niese went down. He's really the starter of this game.
Commemorate the inaugural season at Citi Field with Mets Amazing Memorabilia, the official source for all your Mets game used and autographed collectibles. Call 718-559-3144 or log on to Mets.com/gameused to get your Amazing Memorabilia now. 6 in a row out of the strike zone from Loesch, behind 2-0 on Figueroa, and he misses high for ball 3. A walk would fill the bases and bring up Angel Pagan. The Mets already with a 5-0 lead, and still no action in the Cardinal bullpen, with Loesch having himself a rough day. There's a strike, 3-1. Now Loesch making just his 15th start. Spent a month on the disabled list with a forearm issue after he was hit by a pitch in late May. There's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So Figueroa draws a walk. Loesch walks the 8 and 9 hitters. And now Pagan will come up with the bases loaded, and Dennis Reyes gets up in the Cardinal bullpen.
Well, I don't know Kyle Loesch enough, but you can't, if you're the manager, appreciate the body language you're getting from Loesch out there on the mound. Now, it could be different if he's hurt, and he has been hurt this season, but kind of looks lost out there to me.
And now he's going to take his exit, and Reyes will come on to relieve him. So Loesch is done after 2 2/3. Both starters done early for different reasons. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Lincoln Mercury. We'll be right back. start this afternoon. Dennis Reyes, who worked an inning last night, right back out there today.
Well, he leads the St. Louis Cardinals in appearances. Dennis Reyes has that rubber arm. Pitched very well for Minnesota early in his career, and still a very effective left-handed pitcher.
That's with the bases loaded and 2 out. And Angel Pagan, who singled to center in the first and drove in a run with a sacrifice fly in the second, now batting in the third and takes a strike from Reyes.
Did pretty well his last time up with the bases loaded too, by the way.
That was a game-winning grand slam against Arizona on Saturday night.
Oh, his mom in the stands, able to deliver that game-winning hit, grand slam.
First home run as a Met, first career grand slam. Back to Reyes. Got that glove out and retires Pagan to get through the inning. We go to the 4th at Citi Field. The Mets up 5-0. Center field.
I mean, that backfield is packed the entire game. The kids taking their swings. Oh, this kid's going to get whacked.
Well, you know, part of the attraction is we look toward home plate here from the center field camera out on the wiffle ball field. But if you look out the other way, you see it's really a replica of Citi Field, and it's something very cool for the kids, and they can actually see themselves on video as they're swinging.
I like it out there because you got a great view of the bay, Flushing Bay, and then the LaGuardia in the distance. But it's a beautiful view out there.
Ryan Ludwig leads off the 4th inning against Nelson Figueroa, who's worked an inning and a third in relief. Allowed just 1 hit. If you're just joining us, John Niese had to leave in the 2nd inning. Covering a play at first base, injured himself, and then throwing a warm-up pitch, crumbled and had to be helped off the field. One and one to Ludwig. The word we're getting on Niese is that he left the game with a right hamstring strain. What that means in terms of How severe, how long, no indication given. 2-2 to Ludwig. So the Mets, who lost Luis Castillo to an ankle injury last night, got news of a setback on Jose Reyes. Is Jonathan Niese today to injury. Inside, and Ludwig is hit by the pitch. So a leadoff base runner for the Cardinals. With Ricky Ankiel coming up, let's check in with Kevin.
Jersey guy with another Jersey guy, fellas. Most of you know this guy, for sure. It's Zach Graff, star of Scrubs, who's here hanging out at Citi Field. And you know, most people, when they make it big, they buy your parents a house or something like that. You bought your dad something different.
Well, that makes you sound cheap. I'll buy him a house one day, but the thing he really wanted more than anything was Mets season tickets. He's the biggest Mets fan in the world, and as soon as I made enough money to afford it, I made sure he got really good season tickets.
Did he? I mean, was there pressure to get really good seats there? I mean, how
a surprise, and I didn't get the seats I currently have right behind home plate. These are a little ridiculous. I'm not Puff Daddy, but I did get them. I think my seats between home and third. We don't get hit by a ball.
And Keel lifts one deep to right, and Frank Core will haul it in. Well, you play a doctor on TV. I don't know if you know this, but there might be a few Mets visiting the set of Scrubs sometime soon.
I know. I've never seen anything like what just happened with the pitcher. Does that happen often?
Around here, yes. Hey, what's it like being on that show, though? I mean, it's so fun to watch. It's so just kind of off the cuff.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I describe to people it's like going to work with your best friends and laughing all day long. And so I'm super blessed that I got to have a job just to get paid to act like a goofball.
You're from Jersey and you make a movie called Garden State. I mean, do you walk into like the local 7-Eleven and get accosted trying to get a Slurpee? How does that work out for you?
In my hometown, I think if there was going to be a parade, I would get offered the Grand Marshal position. Garden State was a love letter to New Jersey and the Tri-County area, Tri-State area.
Zach, before we let you go, just give the fans an idea. What are you doing right now?
Right now, we're going to do the Scrubs spin-off. They're making a spin-off, and I'm going to do 6 episodes of that. And then in the spring, I'm going to direct my second movie called Swingles with the lovely and talented Cameron Diaz. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That sounds like a pretty good life. By the way, happy birthday upcoming to your dad as well.
Yes, my dad's turning 75. So if he's watching, happy birthday, Dad. I love you very much.
Got to get him on the show next. Zach Graff, guys. Thanks for the time. Guys, back to you.
Thank you very much, Kevin. And I get big props in my house today after getting to meet Zach earlier today. My boys are going to be very, very jealous.
They love that show, and you got a couple autographs from Zach, which is perfect.
2-1 to Yadier Molina. Hits it hard to short, should be 2. Figueroa to Cora, and on to first for the 6-4-3 double play that gets Figueroa through the top of the 4th inning. It's been a good day for Nelson so far, and for the Mets with a 5-0 lead. 5-0 lead. We have a moment. Want to thank two very special people who've been a part of our SNY crew this summer. John DeMarsico and Steve Karras, two of our interns who are working their last game at Citi Field before heading back to school.
There were such divas up here, I tell you. You need some good kids, and they've been great all season long.
John is going back to NC State and Steve to 5 Towns. And I have to say that two people have never carried more ice than those two have this summer.
They just run up and down those stairs and just they've been great.
So good luck, guys. Alex Cora leading off the home 4th inning takes a strike. Alex reached on a fielder's choice and scored in the first. Fouled out to third base in the second. He's 0 for 2. David Wright and Gary Sheffield to follow in the bottom of the 4th. Both teams going to their bullpen early today. That's because of injury, and the Cardinals because of ineffectiveness. Pujols grabs the grounder. He'll race Cora to the bag and beats him by a stride, 1 away. Could have added to his assist total, but I'm not sure Reyes was going to get there.
No, well, that's the good read by Albert, is that Reyes was not going to get there, and he made the play himself.
So now David Wright. David had 2 hits last night, 2 more hits today, including a 2-run homer. David now has 129 hits for the season. Started the day 3rd in the National League in batting, trailing Andy Ramirez and Pablo Sandoval. We're going to get a change in the outfield for the Cardinals. Obi Rasmus is going out there, and Rick Anquilo is coming in. Anquilo's had a troubled day in center field, leaving the game, which makes you think they're going to make a double switch now, which is exactly what Tony La Russa will do. So La Russa heads out to the mound, and he'll bring in a right-hander to face David Wright. So Dennis Reyes done after only 2 batters in long relief. As the Cardinals will bring in Blake Hawksworth, and we'll be right back. Services provider to the Mets. Xerox, ready for real business. Colby Rasmus comes into play center field. He will bat 9th. And on the pitch is right-hander Blake Hawksworth. He'll hit 6th with Anquilo coming out.
Well, he made his debut on June 6th. He's been called up a couple times after starting games in Memphis. See his 12th game so far in this season for Mr. Hawksworth.
So David Wright will face the right-hander. And that makes sense. I mean, David's only hitting .430 against lefties. But you rarely see a double switch in the 4th inning of a game. Very unusual.
Well, you have a manager in La Russa that does not want to see his team fall any further behind. Try to play the matchups early because he has such a potent offense. 5-0. He feels as though they're still in this ball game, and you have a feeling that they are.
So he goes to his 3rd pitcher of the day. Hawksworth, who was born in British Columbia, grew up in the state of Washington. Outside ball 3. That makes him sort of Canadian. And Wright takes a strike, 3-1. We're talking about it off the air the other day. You ever meet a bad guy from Canada?
I haven't. No, I really haven't. And I know. I mean, I have lots of friends, of course, that are from Canada, and they're just unaffected, unassuming folks. The people that I know. Anyway. Lots of friends that are hockey players. Hockey players, by the way, are the best sports celebrities of all time. They're just unaffected, not like some of the stuff you've read recently from our pro football guys.
Ball 4 to right, so David's on for the third straight time. Well, it starts from the top. I mean, you've met Gretzky, right?
That's right.
Greatest human being who ever lived.
Unbelievable. You wouldn't even know that how many goals he has. I mean, he's just unaffected, like I said.
So Hawksworth comes on and walks the first man to face him, and now Gary Sheffield is 0 for 2. Twice has hit the ball on the ground today. And that's been an issue for Gary since coming off the DL. He's hit into 3 double plays in his first 2 starts. And Hawksworth having trouble throwing strikes. There's a strike, 1-1. Daniel Murphy hitting 5th in the order, waiting on deck. Two and 1. Sheffield starting a day game after a night game, which was not a guarantee, but I think after losing Castile last night, Jerry felt he had no choice but to put Gary in the lineup. And Gary has acknowledged that day games are not his favorite. He said, I'll go out there, I'll play, but I'd much rather play at night. Double play, ball to short. Lugo, Thurston, 6-4-3. 4 double plays in 3 games grounded into by Gary Sheffield. 4 in the books at Citi Field, 5-0 New York. Trivia question: the 2 players who have hit the most home runs as a rookie in the National League. Wally Berger and Frank Robinson. Wow. 38. Ryan Braun did as well.
I thought he hit 36, but I'm not sure.
Joe Thurston leading off the 5th inning against Nelson Figueroa, who's done a fine job at long relief and a little flare into right field. And Thurston has a leadoff base hit. Only the 3rd hit of the game for the Cardinals, the 2nd off Figueroa. And now Colby Rasmus, who was brought into the number 9 spot of the order.
Pujols hit 37 in his rookie campaign.
Braun hit 34. Did Braun set a record for RBIs by a rookie?
Well,
slugging
percentage. And also because he came up in middle of May or late May,
right.
If he gave his first 162 games, it was an amazing number. A little bit like Mr. Longoria, who's
he had himself a pretty good night last night.
Yes, he did.
He had himself a Ron Swoboda night. He struck out 3 times and hit 2 home runs, including the game. That's the night that Rocky had against Carlton, that famous game in 1969. Carlton struck out 19 and lost the game because Swoboda hit 2 2-run homers. There were certain things about that 69 season that just made the whole thing seem inevitable.
Yeah.
That was one of those games. If you strike out 19 times and you win, you're having a pretty good year.
Well, it's like that game you always talk about, the doubleheader game, where
It's the Pirates, yeah.
the starting pitchers for the Mets drove in the runs.
Kuzman in the first game and Cardwell in the second game, 1-0 each time. The Kuzman part was pretty amazing. He couldn't hit it all. When it goes and it's pulled foul.
I was going to say that's no small feat for Jerry, who at the end of his career wasn't a bad contact hitter, but they said they couldn't hit it all early.
Cardinals trying to get something going by playing hit and run. The Mets are back home. They will be celebrating the 69 team August 22nd. And Colby Rasmus down swinging. Figueroa has his 2nd strikeout. 1 out in the 5th.
Couple strikeouts now by Nelson up in the strike zone as he throws that past Rasmus. Came in on that double switch replacing Rick Ankiel.
So 1 out and 1 on. Julio Lugo coming up. On this date in 1969, August the 5th, the Mets played a doubleheader at Crosley Field in Cincinnati, which was in its final season as the home of the Reds. And in the first game of that doubleheader, a rarity. An early exit for the franchise. Seaver lasted just 3 innings in that first game and took the loss 8-5. In the nightcap, another Hall of Fame pitcher started for the Mets. A guy by the name of Ryan.
He was pretty dominant. Complete game. Only gave up 1 run, a couple of walks and 7 strikeouts. Seaver, it looks like he gave up 4 runs in the first 3 innings. They were down 4-0 and they pinch hit for him in the 4th. That took him out of the ballgame.
1-1 to Julio Lugo, who struck out and fouled out. And a breaking ball hit to left center. Sheffield was playing the line, so he won't get close to it. Cuts it off deep. Thurston to third will be held up there, and in at second base is Lugo. Sheffield was playing all the way over toward the left field line, so when Lugo hit that ball to left center field, there was no chance for Garrett.
And another extra base hit from Julio Lugo. 1 bounce. Sheffield cuts it out before it makes it to the wall. That saves a run.
So Lugo with his 3rd double in 2 games in this series.
Showing some good speed here is Lugo. I think 9 of the 17 hits now for the Cardinals are extra base hits, which is remarkable.
Well, considering he only had 6 extra base hits with the Red Sox.
Yeah, that's his 17th hit. It's his 5th double. He has 3 triples and a home run.
Now DeRosa, who struck out twice, tries to lay off the breaking ball. And it's ball 1. So the Cardinals with their biggest scoring threat of the day so far. Second and third and 1 out. Mets have the infield back, happy to concede a run to get an out. And DeRosa pops it up. Cora calling, having trouble with the sun, and Frank Kirk comes in to bail him out. I'm not sure Alex ever properly saw that ball, and so Frank Cora to the rescue.
Well, you got to love this play by your right fielder. Never gives up on the play, hustling the whole time. He could tell that both first baseman Murphy and Cora are having difficulty and took charge.
So there's the second out of the inning. And now Pujols, and well, if it were a different score, you'd intentionally walk him here, but at 5-0, you have to pitch to him. Pujols has 6 consecutive hits, including 3 doubles and 2 home runs. Second and third and 2 out. And Figueroa works him away 1-0. Pujols has doubled to left and doubled to right today. Now has 27 doubles to go with his league-leading 36 home runs. Breaking ball, strike 1-1. Quick text poll. Do you think Albert Pujols will win the Triple Crown this season? A for yes, B for no. Text to 57508 or visit SNY.TV. Your Toyota text poll. 1-1. Figueroa keeping the ball away from him. 2-1. Looked for a while as though Pujols was in pretty good position, but slump has taken him down the charts in terms of batting average. Started the day at 321, was 6th in the league. That's the updated number now. His 2 hits today. Inside, he's hit by the pitch. Got him on the right arm. And Barry Weinberg, the trainer, out to make sure Pujols is okay.
Albert's like, I got it. Caught that right on the forearm, I believe. Pitch up and in. 2-1 count, trying to stay in there. And yes, caught him right in the under part of that forearm. And his forearms are like meat hooks, so able to take that and proceed to first base. But bases loaded here against the Mets with 2 outs. 5th
time Pujols has been hit this year. Second batter that Figueroa has hit in this game. And when you hit the big guy, you wonder what happens on the other side. Now the bases are loaded. A chance for the Cardinals to get right back in this. Bases loaded, 2 out for Holiday, who's popped up to the pitcher and flied out to center. 0 for 2. Big batter for Figueroa. And Holiday fouls back the fastball. 0-1. Thurston is at third, Lugo at second, and Pujols at first with 2 out. So that keeps Pujols' hit streak intact. 6 consecutive official at bats with a hit. Good stop by Schneider on the slider. 1-1.
Brian has got those shades on, trying to cut the glare out, makes a beautiful play on this ball away. What saves catchers with the breaking ball away is that it has so much spin, the first bounce always bounces back to them.
1-1 to Holiday. Bounce foul, and now Figueroa is ahead 1-2. Matt Holiday finished strong with the A's. As you look at Ludwig on deck, with 390 over his last 10 games in Oakland, and then 488 in his first 11 games with the Cardinals. One-two. And away with the fastball, 2-2. Jerry Manuel bringing Nelson Figueroa into this game in the second inning when John Niese got hurt, going down with a hamstring injury. Holiday down swinging, and the inning is over. Fourth strikeout for Nelson Figueroa as he strikes out Holiday to strand 3. Halfway through, 5-0 Mets. Schwartz and Joe Beningo as they debate all the latest New York sports news with the Daily News writers behind the day's big stories on Daily News Live, presented by Citi, weekdays at 5 p.m. only on SNY. Now Nelson Figueroa, 3 1/3 scoreless relief after a dreadful start 2 nights ago. Figueroa riding to the rescue after John Niese got hurt, and Daniel Murphy leads off the home 5th inning with a rocket into right field. So Murphy has his first hit of the day at the Mets' 8th. And they get the leadoff man on in the home 5th. And that'll bring up Jeff Francoeur, who's already 2 for 2 today. Single to center, double to left. Jeff was in a 3 for 26 skid coming into the day today. But he's hit the ball solidly twice. Jeff has yet to draw an unintentional walk as a Met. In fact, he's now gone 153 plate appearances going back to his Atlanta period without an unintentional walk. And that's the longest such streak of his career. It'll continue. Lugo makes the flip to Thurston, and they get the lead runner. 1 away. This is the only game going on right now in the major leagues. There's another game about to start in a few minutes that's of note. The Giants are playing in Houston, and it's notable because the Giants starter this afternoon is going to be Joe Martinez, former standout at Seton Hall Prep and at Boston College, who in his first major league start back in April got hit in the head by a line drive and has been out ever since and makes his return today. Schneider gets under one to right center field. Ludwig has room. And we're 2 out.
Just an awful sight that night in San Francisco when he got hit by the line drive. Mike Cameron hit the ball, I believe.
Yeah. In the right temple. Suffered a concussion, 3 small fractures on the right side of his face, internal bleeding, swelling around his eye. He doesn't remember his start.
That's really good. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, because it'll stop you from having some fear.
So for the pride of South Orange, hopefully a safe return to the mound today. Strike 1 to Baroa.
I was thinking the young pitcher that was hit when he was playing for the Boston Red Sox. It never really came back from that. Hit by a line drive. Yes.
funny what the vagaries of that are, because I remember John Matlack getting hit square in the forehead by a Marty Perez line drive, and it was awful. It was so bad the ball carried all the way back into the dugout. And Matlack pitched 11 days later.
I'm going to tell you, just goosebumps, because you're able to the grace of God go high. I mean, they call third base the hot corner, but the pitcher's only about 55 feet away by the time he leaves the ball. Lets the ball go.
Third base may be the hot corner, but the mound, that's the gribble.
There you go.
Figueroa is 0 for 1 today. He's also drawn a walk. And Angel grounds one to the left side, and Lugo on the backhand makes the play to end the inning. Leadoff base hit, 5 in the books now, 5-0 Mets. With 5 runs in the first 2 innings against Kyle Loesch. That's the good news. The bad news, John Niese knocked out of the game in the 2nd inning because of a hamstring injury. Good news from there, though, Nelson Figueroa has picked up and pitched scoreless relief for 3 1/3 and contributed a 2-run triple. So a much better day for Nelson than his Monday night debacle against the Diamondbacks. And now he'll face Ryan Ludwig leading off in the 6th inning. Ludwig has reached twice on a walk and a hit batsman. The pitcher spot is due up next, and Khalil Green has come out on deck to pinch hit. Then Yadier Molina. And the curveball from Figueroa misses for ball 1. And Ludwig strokes one to right. Francoeur is there to grab it. 1 away. Hard hit ball the other way. Time to check in with the studio. Chris Carlin is back. New York State Smokers Quit Line Game Break. Hi, Chris. Thanks, Chris. Good to have you back. Bye. Khalil Green swings and misses nothing in 1. By the way, could the Mets be heading to more different weather? There are 2 stops on this road trip. San Diego, it's going to be 72 degrees every day. Arizona, it's going to be 108 every day. 0-2 to Green. Brad Thompson, the sinker baller, up in the Cardinal bullpen. Green down swinging. That's 4 strikeouts now for Figueroa in relief. 2 out of the 6th.
Again, 3 of them on a fastball up in the strike zone right by Khalil Green. Just Nelson has had a lot more life on his pitches today than he did in his start 2 days ago. I think it's from being a little more relaxed, letting the ball go. Probably a little nervous in his last start. Less so today.
Now Yadier Molina with 2 out. Well, Nelson was a red-hot pitcher when he was at Buffalo. His last 10 starts in AAA, 7-1, 1.51. And got the call when the Mets needed an extra starter after the doubleheader. And just could not execute pitches.
You know, it's interesting because you hate to ever judge anyone. You'd hate to judge any player by one game. You'd hate to judge any pitcher by one start. But sometimes that's the position you're in. And unfortunate for Nelson, and I'm happy for Nelson that he's got another shot to get out there and is proving his mettle today.
Molina to shallow right. Frank Curiano will have to play it on a hop. Knocks it down, and Molina will hold it first. 5th hit of the game for the Cardinals, a 2-out single. Well, Nelson Figueroa has described himself, because of the peripatetic nature of his career, as have-arm, will travel. But he's hoping he doesn't have to travel anywhere but San Diego.
Well,
you know, he'd like to stick around for a while this time.
You know, I feel bad for Jonathan Niese, of course, and don't know how long he's going to be out, but it seems like there's a spot for Nelson now.
Here's Joe Thurston, who's 1 for 2. Single to right in the 5th inning.
It's a strange game because you can get your shot in so many different ways, and you got to make the most of it when it happens.
Well, this is a strange one because, you know, you thought that after the start the other night there was every chance that he might get sent out, designated for assignment, whatever, and that would be his last shot. Well, he gets another opportunity today, and that might create more opportunities. It reminds me a little bit of the Mike Jacobs story from 2005. Jacobs was called up just to be an extra body on the bench because Piazza was ailing, and he got a shot to pinch hit in the middle of a blowout game. He hit a home run. He was going to be sent down to the minors after the game. Pedro Martinez actually pleaded his case, and they had taken his stuff off the bus. They put it back on. He goes to Arizona. He hits 3 home runs in the next 3 games. And all of a sudden he's got a major league career where he might not have had one otherwise.
That's right. He's been a major leaguer ever since. Although a struggle for him in Kansas City this season.
Jim Redding up in the bullpen for New York. He did a great job behind Figueroa the other night. 2-2 to Thurston. And it's taken high, 3-2.
You know, it's interesting. My shot, Gary, was just the opposite of Nelson's experience. Came up to a bad team in 1983 with the Mets, and they gave me, he said, you are pitching the month of September. You'll have 5 starts, young man. Make the most of them. I didn't really. I went 1 and 3, but I won the last one anyway.
Always want to send him off on a positive.
That's right.
Leave him laughing. Molina gets set to run. 3-2 and 2 out. Thurston takes strike 3 call. Strikeout number 5 for Nelson Figueroa. 4 1/3 scoreless in relief for the resurgent Figueroa.
first, does the splits, and you can see that seems to tweak that leg, and then his first warm-up pitch, his leg collapsed, and one of the worst things I've ever seen on a field. Just so much pain.
They called it a right hamstring strain, and we're told now that John is on his way to the hospital for special surgery to get an MRI on that hamstring, and with that I'm sure we'll have a better idea of the severity of it. But boy, it sure didn't look good when he collapsed there throwing a warm-up pitch. Brad Thompson comes on in relief for the Cardinals as we go to the bottom of the sixth.
Well, in those 21 games, 8 of those have been starts for Thompson, who is kind of a spot starter for the St. Louis Cardinals team. Good slurve, good sinking fastball. It's his best pitch.
Jeremy Reed will bat for Nelson Figueroa, who's done after 4 1/3 scoreless innings of relief. And the vagaries of the game being what they are, just an amazing turnaround in 2 days for Nelson Figueroa. Not only held the Cardinals scoreless for 4 1/3, also contributed with his bat, and so does Reed as he drives one to the gap in right center field, and that'll roll to the fence. Reed thinking about 3, but pulling into second with a double. So a pinch hit double for Jeremy Reed.
Well, they don't ask him to play a lot, but I tell you, every time Jeremy Reed gets up there, he seems to do something good. 9 now for 27 pinch hitting.
So the Mets have their 9th hit of the game. Mets have put up some big offensive numbers the last 2 days without winning. 5 runs and 9 hits against Arizona Monday night. 7 runs, 15 hits last night. 5 runs and 9 hits today. Here's Angel Pagan, 1 for 2 and a sacrifice fly. And he hits one deep to the gap in right center field. That ball's going to roll all the way to the fence. Reed scores easily. Pagan thinking 3 and going for 3. And makes it standing with his 7th triple of the year. Six to nothing, New York.
Boy, that didn't take long, did it? A couple pitches and a double and a triple here from Pagan. This gap has been well used today by the New York Mets. Nice compact swing, and Pagan just has that great blazing speed.
7 triples for Pagan and only 135 at bats this year, as Nelson Figueroa, who had a triple earlier today, lends his support. There's only one player in the National League who has more triples than Angel Pagan. Michael Bourne of the Astros has 9, and Pagan now has 7, playing less than a third of the season.
Thompson hasn't had good sink on his fastball. He wants to sink her down and away, and that is straight as string down the middle of the plate.
Cora lifts one foul. Well, the infield is back for the Cardinals, and every time I see this 6-0 game, infield back, it's like, are they conceding?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you think that you'd like your infield in because the reason you have the infield backs, you don't want a big inning, but any kind of inning now is starting to put you in harm's way where you might not be able to come back.
Molina couldn't find it for a moment, but locates it soon enough that Pagan doesn't want to make a break.
Curveball in the dirt. Hits the heel of the glove. That's why it got away from Molina. That's where your pitcher can really help you, by pointing in the direction. And don't say over there, over there. Say first base side, first base side.
There's a bear. Where? Line into left field, falling in for a base hit. That'll chase Pagan home from third. Alex Cora extends his hitting streak to 8 games with an RBI single, and now it's 7-0 New York.
Well, resilient Met team here in this afternoon game really took a tough loss in last night's game and have come out and swung the bats again. Don't forget last night, despite the loss, their offense was outstanding last night.
3 straight hits to start the inning. David Wright has homered, singled, and walked today. And a breaking ball for a strike. David hit his 8th home run of the year, a 2-run shot to right center back in the first inning. Inside and high, and David somehow gets out of the way. Remember, Pujols got drilled earlier, and now we're going to get warnings. Well, I think that was probably inevitable.
I told you in between innings that was coming. Simple as that. Is that when the Cardinals, Pujols was hit, usually the retaliation is against the other team's best player, but there's no excuse for Thompson throwing at the head of Wright. That is not the right play. You can brush someone back in a proper way. You never want to be around the head.
What's Tony arguing?
Well, Tony's arguing that his best player got hit. Why is there a warning against his pitcher? But he'll be wrong at this place.
Well, if the pitcher is warned, then both benches will be warned too, and that keeps the Mets from retaliating again. But here's where the pitch was, in a dangerous spot.
I mean, that's right at his helmet.
That's Clemens-esque right there. That was not right. And we're talking about a sinker ball pitcher. Pujols got hit on the forearm. I don't know how David got out of the way.
Oh, man. You know, this is a good chance here. 2-1. Any hitter worth his medal wants to hit a BB right back through the box.
Inside, ball 3. Well, Thompson's got enough problems. He's given up 3 straight hits to start the inning, a double, a triple, and a single. He's got Sheffield looming on deck, and now he's behind Wright 3-1. And David hits a double play ball. Lugo and Thurston turn it 6-4-3 for the first 2 outs of the inning. And the first time Wright's been retired today. So 2 out and nobody on. Well, this is the last game of the year between these two teams. And there was no prior history in terms of anybody getting drilled in any significant way. Whereas the Mets have kind of owed the Cardinals something since the postseason of 2006 when St. Louis ended their season. But both teams have turned over so greatly over the last 3 years. Sheffield takes a breaking ball for a strike. And Sheffield, you see, saying to Thompson, you don't throw at somebody's head. And he drills one toward the gap in left center field. That's in for an extra base hit. Although Sheffield is going to stop at first base. And he's hurting. He's coming out of the game. So Sheffield, who just got back to the lineup after sitting out with a hamstring problem, is coming off the field again. Oh my. Reyes and Castillo yesterday, Niese, and now Sheffield today. Another player accompanied by a trainer going down the tunnel.
Hanging slider from Thompson, and you can see just pulling up here as he tweaks something coming out of the batter's box.
Corey Sullivan will come on to run for him, and where does it end?
Wow.
Where does it end?
Might have about 12 people on the plane to San Diego.
By the way, this team after today still has 55 more games left to play. There's Daniel Murphy with a runner at first and 2 out, and he shoots 1 foul.
Well, you asked me before, is anything like '87? This is by far, in a way, worse. Never seen anything like it. It's a daily occurrence.
Twice daily now. I mean, it's faster than ever before. I mean, now you're facing the prospect of Reyes maybe not coming back at all. You don't about Beltran? Delgado, you figure, is coming back at some point. Wagner, Hooks, Maine, you have no idea. Castillo's now on the sidelines. Sheffield just leaves the game again. Niese could be out for a long period of time. I mean, it's just one after another after another.
And you're going to the West Coast, and you're going to need bodies.
And again, you got the problem that the Mets just don't have a lot of people available at the upper levels of their farm system to come in and help out. Where the Mets prospects are farther down the chain. And we forgot Fernando Martinez. Remember, he's also hurt. Out in left field, Holiday makes the grab to retire Murphy, and that retires the side. But the Mets add 2 runs, driven in by Pagan and Cora, and lose another player. What matters the most to you, the latest news on all things New York sports. Hear it all on Geico Sports Night every night at 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. right here on SNY. Bobby Parnell will come on to pitch for the Mets as we go to the 7th inning.
Bobby's 54th game, big outing here to try to get maybe a couple innings here for the Mets after the outstanding job from Nelson Figueroa.
Sullivan stays in the game in left field, replacing Sheffield, who we have to guess appeared to have his hamstring tighten up on him again. We'll get a word on that as soon as we can. Colby Rasmus leads off in the 7th inning. His second at bat came in a double switch back in the 4th. Struck out in his only at bat. And takes ball 1. You know, it's reached the point with the Mets injury list where I'm having trouble remembering the whole list.
Yeah. It's strange. It's, you know, intellectually, you know, people have gone down, but it's hard to really wrap your brain around it, isn't it? I mean, the extent of what has happened.
Kevin Burkhardt is standing by with Nelson Figueroa. Kevin?
Nelson, I mean, were you guys even paying attention out there in the bullpen to see what happened to Niese? And if so, what was your reaction to that?
No, we actually had turned around after the play, and somebody said he, you know, lunged, trying to make the play at first, and kind of did a split, and we saw him walking around and taking his time, so we knew it was kind of serious, so we started stretching. And then saw him when he tried to take that throw and crumbled down, and you know, just started to get ready as quickly as possible. You know, he was doing so well starting out. You know, we were hoping for a nice long game out of him, and unfortunately he went down, and you know, prayers are with him.
How tough, how absurd is this right now? I mean, you have your second baseman fall down the stairs yesterday. You have Niese who pitched very well. You know, I mean, Is it starting to get to this team, the amount of things that it can take as far as the injury bug is concerned?
We were talking about, you take the #1 hitter, #3 and 4 hitter out of any lineup, and it's going to be a tough year. But we're missing 9 guys, almost 10 now. So it makes it, it seems like it's impossible every day that we come to the ballpark. Something else seems to happen. Sheffield hits the ball well in the gap for a double and you can't go. And it makes it tough, but the rest of the guys we're trying to pull together and pull this one out and regroup and see what we got going with us out west.
The difference between Monday and today?
Made better pitches, a little more aggressive with the fastball. Was able to locate on both sides of the plate and had fun. Tried to go out there and had a lead to work with, and really just wanted to stay focused and give us enough innings to get to the back end of the bullpen, and hopefully we can close this game out.
Yeah, you've been through everything, but did you put, you think in hindsight, a little bit too much pressure on yourself on Monday? I mean, you were pitching great. Any chance you get, you want to make that impression. Today you didn't have time to think. Today you get called up and you go and you do your thing. Is that part of this equation at all, or you think it was simply just location for you?
Yeah. I mean, a multitude of things, just the whole day of, finally getting called up, getting here, and not coming to the ballpark, not playing catch, not staying in my routine. And I come up the next day and I want to do maybe a little too much. And against a team, free swinging team like that, young team like that, they took advantage of it. This team went out there and stick to the game plan early and made pitches and just continued to pound the strikes on.
Now, before I let you go, how about strategy now? Facing the Cardinals with Pujols and Holiday. You got Holiday in a huge spot after you hit Pujols there. How do you attack that as a pitcher when you have those 2 big bats?
Well, you usually hope that there's nobody on, because if they do damage, you want it to be a solo shot. But, came up with 2 guys on and base open, and, I wanted to make a good pitch inside and maybe jam them again like I did the first at bat that just went foul.
And you got out of it, and it certainly worked. Nelson Figueroa, thanks for the time. Hopefully the Mets can win this for you. We'll be back from Citi Field.
The Mets sporting a 7-0 lead. Jason LaRue, who has been sprinting in from the bullpen periodically during these 2 games to warm up pitchers, will actually get to catch a couple of innings. LaRue, a long-time catcher, used to play for the Cincinnati Reds. Jeff Francoeur leads off for the Mets in the home 7th. Francoeur 2 for 3 on the day, a single and a double. Second inning on the mound for Brad Thompson, and he throws high for ball 1.
The most awful thing I've ever done, wearing a uniform, other than getting beat up and giving up tons of runs, is I was in Wrigley Field one day, and we had
it's Wrigley Field?
Yes, in Wrigley Field. I'm sorry, another story from Wrigley Field. And the bullpens, were down the right field line, on the, just off the field. And we had a bullpen catcher that when Gary Carter made the last out, he was so earnest, and he would come sprinting from the bullpen and saddle himself right behind the plate and have his mask on, his gear, and ready to catch in between innings. So I saw this happening a couple of starts, and it's a pretty long run from in Wrigley.
Frank Kerr draws an unintentional walk after 154 plate appearances without one. That's a major event I had to throw. Sorry.
No.
Go ahead now.
So I saw him doing this the prior games, and I said, if I get my shot, I'm going to do it to him. So Gary Carter makes the last out. I go out to the mound and I watch him. He sprints all the way in, and he couldn't be more earnest. He sat behind the plate, puts glove up, and I looked at him. Again, I said, you get out of here. I'm not throwing a pitch to you. Get back to the bullpen. And he walked, dauber down, head down. Took him about 1,000 steps to make it back to the bullpen, and the entire bullpen was doubled over with laughter as he was ashamed. The walk of shame. That was me.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Thurston with the backhand flip, and Lugo turns it over. And the Cardinals turn their third double play in the last 4 innings. 2 out and nobody on. Well,
it was just an awful thing to do. I feel bad about it, but we're still friends. So
the gentleman you're talking about loved traveling with a major league team.
He did.
Still a friend to many of you. There's Angel Figueroa, and he takes a strike. Figueroa 0 for 2 and a walk. He scored a run. And he hits it in the air to deep left field. Back goes Holiday, going back onto the track, reaching to make the catch. Figueroa making a bid for his first home run. Takes one to the track. 7 in the books, 7-0 Mets. Talk about measuring your swing already. Look at that.
That's a good swing.
That's made neither one. Here's your AT&T high-speed pitch. Hardest pitch of the night for either side or the day. Lotion 91. Bobby Parnell, who just pitched a brilliant 7th inning, topped out at 96, had a couple of strikeouts. Now he will face Albert Pujols leading off in the 8th. Pujols has not been retired today. 2 doubles and a hit batsman, but he's been stranded 3 times in a row. Last 8 plate appearances, Pujols 6 for 6, 3 doubles, 2 home runs. And now a turn at bat against Parnell, who goes up and away for ball 1. A power versus power matchup. Holiday and Ludwig to follow for the Cardinals in the 8th. chasing away 2-0. Here's your Bigelow other side of the diamond quote of the day from Tony La Russa. You can reconstruct his at-bats. You can watch tape. You'll see the adjustments he has to make. Or as Albert put it last night, I am not a machine. Making reference to the ESPN commercial, but he was serious. He said, look, I'm human. I can take overs occasionally. He said, a little hard work and I'll get myself back in the groove.
Well, in a game where pitchers are paid to dictate the at-bat, it's the other way with Pujols. Pujols dictates the at-bats to the pitcher.
Slow ground ball. Right hurrying in and throws it out, 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on. Here are the results of your Toyota Text poll. Do you think Albert Pujols will win the Triple Crown this season? And about 50-50 with a slight edge to the nose side.
Well, the nose are the people that know the history of the Triple Crown in the National League. That's been won since Ducky Medwick. What was it, 1937?
72 years ago. Not been won in either league since 1967. Troy Yastrzemski. Oh, and he lifts one to deep left. Sullivan back, and he makes the reaching grab. Beautiful play by Corey Sullivan for the second out.
Well, we've been impressed since his call-up with his defense in left field. And another beautiful play from Corey up against that fence. That's the kind of play you like to see late in the game. You got a big lead, but still the hustle and wherewithal to make that catch to help Parnell.
By the way, nothing's free. 2 out and nobody on. Here's Ryan Ludwig. He's 0 for 1, and he takes a strike. So 5 up and 5 down for Bobby Parnell. John Niese went an inning and 2/3 today, left because of a hamstring injury. He's on the way to hospital for special surgery to have an MRI to see the extent of the problem. But Figueroa and Parnell have been terrific behind him. Ludwig to shallow right, and Frank Corey's there. Side retirement. 6 up and 6 down for Parnell in relief. 7-0 Mets. Relief has already avoided making friends with the Mets today, throwing A head-high pitch to David Wright that drew some ire. Bobby Parnell will get a turn at bat. Parnell has worked 2 innings, thrown only 16 pitches though, so it looks like he'll get a chance for a 3-inning save. This is Bobby's first major league plate appearance. The number 9 spot in the order has been good to the Mets today. Figueroa had a 2-run triple and a walk. Reed, as a pinch hitter, had a double. Parnell will be hard pressed to live up to that production. Angel Pagan, and now let's score to follow in the bottom of the 8th. Grounded over the bag and just foul. Parnell almost had himself a base hit.
Little slider, almost kept it fair.
Pitcher who got the 3-inning save in that 30-3 game that Texas won a couple of years ago.
Yeah, against Baltimore, right?
It's like the first game of doubleheader, I think.
Yeah.
30-3.
Yep.
But by pitching the last 3 innings without giving up the lead, qualified for a save. Francisco?
Yeah, it might have been. No, it wouldn't be him, right? Because he was their closer.
Was he then?
Or even if he wasn't their closer, he was the setup man. I doubt if he would have thrown 3 innings.
Well, this isn't quite that awesome.
No.
Looks like Parnell will get a crack at it today, and why not? After all, K-Rod threw 41 pitches in his ill-fated effort yesterday. Everybody in that bullpen's been pretty taxed the last few days. Last night, Santana went 8, but the night before that, Figueroa got knocked out in the 2nd. And the 2 starts before that, Perez and Pelfrey each went only 5 innings. And Parnell over short, base hit. And he's batting 1,000 in the major leagues. Save that baseball.
Very nice.
He joins the likes of Dave Liddell and Ray Searage. Mets with 1,000 batting averages for their career.
Gary Bennett in that group.
Very good. Searage hasn't won better. He not only got a hit, was only at bat, 1-0 as a pitcher too. LaRusse out to make a pitching change. That's now 13 hits in the game, including 3 from the number 9 spot in the batting order. Trevor Milner will come out of the bullpen for the Cardinals. We'll be right back to Citi Field. 1-0 lead. The veteran Trevor Miller comes on in relief for St. Louis.
Boy, he has pitched well for this team. Look at that minuscule ERA, 1 loss of 3 and 0, and has struck out 13 of the last 27 batters he's faced. Those batting averages against right-handers are wearing them out, but the left-handers no shout.
Another big day at the plate for Angel Pagan. A single, a triple, a sacrifice fly. He's driven in 2. He now has 7 triples in only 135 at-bats this year. That is remarkable. Figure this, the Mets club record for triples in a year is 21 by Lance Johnson. He had over 600 at-bats this year. Pagan is on a pace to get 21 triples in about 400 at-bats. Bobby Parnell, the base runner, and Pagan grounds 1 foul. Arms just long enough. Pagan with his 2 hits today has pushed his batting average back over 300. He's up to 304 on the year. To center field and deep. Back goes Rasmus, going back, looking up, and it's out of here! Angel Pagan digs central for his 2nd home run, and the Mets now lead 9-0. A 4 RBI day for Pagan. Single, triple, and now a long 2-run homer.
Well, you got to account for this talent in Mr. Pagan. Line drive, deep home run to center field, a place you have not seen many balls go. What a day he's having today.
Well, he went nearly 2 years between home runs before he hit one on Saturday night. Now he's hit 2 in less than a week. And that one a good 425 feet. He's hit both his home runs as a right-hand batter. That's 2nd home run of the afternoon. David Wright hit one back in the 1st. That has featured a lot of disappointment and a lot of injuries, including a couple to Pagan himself. He has been a major bright spot over the last 6 weeks since coming back from his most recent injury woes. And Corey down swinging for the first out of the inning. Top here, Mercedes-Benz attention assist of the game. It was John Niese with this nice running grab. 2nd one hit in that territory of the last 2 days. Santana made a similar grab yesterday. That was the highlight for Niese before he left with a hamstring injury. Well, here's Wright, who's 2 for 3 on the day, including that 2-run homer back in the 1st inning. Now with 8 home runs and 54 runs batted in. As the home runs have begun to fly here at Citi Field in the warm and more humid weather. See in this last 7-game stretch, 2.7 home runs per game as opposed to 1.6 per game for the season. And you know, it was kind of that way at Shea Stadium too. You couldn't hit home runs there in April.
April and September, late September especially, but you're right. Middle of summer when it got humid and ball is really flying out. There were a couple of, and the ball by Pagan. Wasn't no doubt about it to center field, and then Wright's of course was, tell it's just carrying a little better.
And some doubles that have gone out to right center field and have now flown in this series, including a couple today. Schneider hit one-handed, got to the warning track in right center. And rifles his third hit of the day. Well, David Wright, who has had cold streaks and hot streaks, is in one of those patented hot streaks again. That's 21 hits in his last 15 games.
Again, another hit to the right side by David, right up the middle. This is when his swing is the best. Boy, it looks very compact right there.
Mets open their road trip in San Diego. Livan Hernandez against the lefty Clayton Richard, who came over in the Jake Peavy deal. 9:30 the coverage on SNY tomorrow night. The start of a 4-game series with the Padres, and then the Mets go to Arizona for 3. Mets with 15 hits today. Second straight day they've pounded out 15, and Livan's hoping that they give him the same largesse tomorrow. Sullivan up for the first time when the game took over for Sheffield. We're told, as kind of thought, Sheffield left with a tight hamstring. So we get the score at Houston. Breaking ball popped up. Shallow right. Ludwig circling in. And there are 2 away. Right back to first. Now Daniel Murphy will step in. Murphy 1 for 4 on the day. It'll be Livan Hernandez against Clayton Richard tomorrow night. Oliver Perez against Kevin Correa Friday night. Mike Pelfrey against young Matt Latos, just 21 years old. He's been very impressive for San Diego. We'll get our first look at him Saturday night. And then Johan Santana against Tim Stauffer on Sunday afternoon. Figure the Mets are going to need a pitcher for Monday in Arizona. That would have been Niese's spot, and maybe Figueroa earned it back today with his long relief out. 1-1 to Murphy. Breaking balls to Murphy, 1-2.
But Miller's wicked on left-handers. Now he throws a little bit 3/4, and that breaking ball just does not stop breaking.
He's given up hits to the 2 right-hand hitters he's faced in this inning. Pagan with the long 2-run homer, and Wright with a single. Struck out Cora and got Sullivan on a fly ball, the 2 left-hand hitters. And now ahead on Murphy, 1-2. Parnell ready to go out there for a 3rd inning after picking up his first big league hit and his first big league plate appearance. Broken back grounder, trickling, just foul. Barrel of the bat sailing out to Joe Thurston at second base. And David Wright had to run away from it. Do they teach that when you're growing up, avoiding broken bats?
They teach you how to avoid the baseball, but not the bat.
2-2 to Murphy, and he fouls it away. The St. Louis starter Kyle Loesch went 2 2/3 today, allowed 5 runs and 7 hits. Cardinals have used Dennis Reyes, Blake Hawksworth, Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner, and Trevor Miller.
We'll always welcome the Zevon reference up here.
Well, after he went after David Wright's hand, I thought it was appropriate. David survived that, and he's had himself a 3-hit day. I don't know how anybody has the courage to get back in the batter's box after having one buzzed by their temple like that. 2-2. And Murphy giving quite a good accounting of himself here after falling behind in the count against a very tough lefty. $39,781 for an early day game on a Thursday afternoon. Final game of this 10-game homestand, and the Mets on the verge of gaining a split of the 10 games. Well attended all. Breaking ball got him, so Miller wins that battle for Murphy to end the inning, but the Mets add 2 on the Angel Pagan home run. Another big day for Angel. A single, a sac fly, a triple, and now his second home run in a week. His first 2 as a Met. 4 RBI day for Pagan and a 9-0 lead for the ninth. In HD, free with IOTV. By Geico, by Citi, by Acela, and by Toshiba, the laptop expert. Bobby Parnell with a chance for his first career save, the rare 3-inning variety. He's gone 6 up and 6 down in his first 2 innings of relief and gotten a base hit along the way. Skip Schumacher will pinch hit for the pitcher for the Cardinals, leading off in the 9th inning. Schumacher, who had a big hit in the Cardinal win last night, the game-tying single in the 9th against Francisco Rodriguez. Leading off in the 9th inning today against Parnell. He shoots one foul down the left side, 0-1. It'll be Schumacher, then Jason LaRue and Joe Thurston for the Cardinals in the 9th inning. Nothing and 2 to Schumacher. Parnell has been throwing all strikes.
Yeah, yes. But how he looked in early April is Ollie Perez getting some throwing in.
Ollie due to start on Friday night in San Diego, place where he began his major league career for the Padres.
You know, him throwing right now just to remind you that if they've had any problems early today, that Oliver was going to be the other left-hander in the bullpen.
Jason LaRue came on late to give Molina a couple of innings off, waiting on deck. Schumacher has to move his feet. 2-2. When you've had an exchange of inside pitches, Pujols getting hit right, barely getting out of the way of a head-high pitch. Is that it? These teams aren't going to see each other again until spring training. Toss to short for Figueroa. And a running toss gets Schumacher one away.
I think it is it. I think that there would be a time where someone might take another shot, but with the warnings nowadays by the umpire, that usually stops it. Very rarely, maybe less than 5 times a year, you'll see a pitcher go out of the box and drill someone like Motor did to Prince Fielder last night.
That came in the 9th inning of a lopsided game, and that's kind of why I asked the question. Now Jason LaRue batting for the first time, hitting .250 in limited playing time. When you are the backup to Yadier Molina, you are a deep backup. LaRue has had 68 at-bats this year. Joe Thurston on deck. Trying to save it for Nelson Figueroa, who did a brilliant job in long relief today. Enough that Molina came out in a lopsided game. Figueroa went 4 1/3, no runs, 4 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts. Hit a couple of batters along the way. An incredible bounce back from the other night. 1-2 to LaRue.
Let me ask you a question, Gary. So with the injuries the Mets have had to some of their starters and other starters not probably producing what you would think, you ever think you go in the postseason, off season, and think about Bobby Parnell?
Well, they were certainly considering it this spring. I mean, he was on the cusp between being a big league reliever and a AAA starter in March. Breaking ball in there for a call, strike 3. Third strikeout for Parnell, who's retired all 8 to face him. 2 out of the 9th.
Great slider, late breaker here as it fools LaRue, because he's got the makeup, he's got the size, and he's got.
Does he have the third pitch?
No, he has 2 pitches right now. He needs 1 more.
That would be. I think that would be the caveat, right?
Yep. And in the bullpen, it's hard to work on your third pitch because you're coming in usually just for an inning.
Now 2 out. And Joe Thurston, the final hope for the Cardinals, 1 for 3 on the day. But I think it's an interesting question because he came into this season thinking that John Maine was a given and that Mike Pelfrey off his 13 wins last year was a given, and that Oliver Perez signing the big contract was a given, and really none of the 3 have been given.
Right.
Behind Santana in that #1 spot. Thurston lines one into right field, and that'll keep the Cardinals alive. Second hit of the night for Thurston. It's a day game, buddy. Right after today's day game, get all of today's highlights, exclusive interviews, Jerry's post-game reactions, Lincoln Mercury post-game live. Right after today's game and after all 162 Mets games right here on SNY.
And the reason I said it, Gary, is just that all the things they talked about Parnell, his strengths as a reliever, that he doesn't get flustered, I've always thought that would work better as a starter. He's easygoing, doesn't get rattled. I think the thing you like is that, you don't like a reliever that comes in and he's kind of frothing at the mouth. You know what I mean? Very excitable. Bobby Parnell, just the opposite. That's a good makeup for a starter.
Bobby Rasmus late on the fastball, and now the Cardinals are down to their final strength.
That fastball, great movement from Parnell.
To center field, and Pagan is right there waiting for it. And the ball game is over. The Mets complete a shutout victory. An injury-scarred game, but tremendous relief from Figueroa and Parnell. Bobby Parnell earns his first Major League save to go with his first Major League hit. Mets waved bye-bye to Pujols, who had 6 straight hits at one point in this